All right, I'm delighted to say, comment allez-vous, Donnacha Ryan?
Très bien, très bien.
Oui. How's the French coming along?
Je parle français comme une vache espagnole.
Wow.
Basically means I speak French.
Like a Spanish pig?
Like a Spanish cow.
Not bad.
Did
you French for leaving?
No, I did German and I did then I did Irish university. So I really had no French going over at the beginning. But it's been at the start it was very difficult. But we've 2 classes a week at the club, 2 French classes a week. Kind of studying with the Tongan and the Samoan guys, so it's kind of can be a bit slow. But I do my own class as well on a private class on a we have a day off on a Thursday.
Right.
So just trying to get to see Paris as well and to be shown around. I get my teacher to meet me in different landmarks around the city.
Nice.
So we'd have a class in the Eiffel Tower. There's a restaurant there.
Oh, nice! That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Gallery Lafayette. There's a lovely cafe up there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so and then we go up to Sacré-Cœur. It's a lovely place to go. Yeah, so you just basically every week just to go somewhere different, and then you can get to see Paris.
Is these mandates, or is your missus getting a bit jealous?
No, she's she'll be my French teacher now. And in the coming weeks, she'll be moving over as well. So it'd be great. It'd be good to get to see the place, get the show around as well. So
you were delighted to be injured for the first 5 months of the season.
I won't lie to you, no, I wasn't. It was because my first the reason that kind of spurred me on to do it was I basically I had a bit of a knock I was carrying from the Wales game last year in my neck, and it kind of carried into the start of the season, and I thought it'd be fine, and then I got another bang against Bayonne. It was kind of blew up I had a cracked vertebrae and a hernia, so I ended up having to get a neck fusion. So basically I had to get the operation done in Bordeaux, and my French the nurse that we're in that was there, she didn't speak any English, so she was asking me, first question was tu as célibataire, so are you single? And I said no, j'ai mon copine, and it goes mon copine, so that means mon copine is I have a boyfriend as opposed to ma copine. So I was like, no, j'adore femme. And then so I was like, okay. And then the next day she came in and she says, comment ça va? And I said, je suis très chaud, which I thought that meant was I am very hot because it was very warm. But it actually means something else. So she says, je sais. So this 60-year-old nurse was like, who the hell is this guy? And so I learned to know the difference between coup and co. So that's, I don't know if anyone who knows French.
Just explain a bit.
Coup is your neck, co is the opposite end of the anatomy. But so there was a calamity of things that spurred me on to start learning French. So no, it was the first. Because even the operation, the surgeon mentioned, he's like, you'll return in 10 semaines, and I was like, 10 semaines, is that like months or so 10 weeks? So I was back after 10 weeks after neck fusion. So
that's amazing, because it used to be like a 6 month, maybe a year out with neck fusion, right?
Yeah. I used to be 6'6". I'm 6'3" now. So it was he's a fantastic surgeon, great surgeon, and I rehabbed very hard because at the start I was just trying to make a good impression. It's like you starting a new job and not being able to speak, so you're trying to get in and try and make a good impression as possible. And I felt like under pressure as well there because you're kind of, there's question marks over. He's like, what type of guy is this guy? He's Irish as well. So what do you like?
Is he going to leave us?
Yeah, no. It was just, it was. They were very, very good. They're very, very good. And
neck fusion is no joke, though. Like, it's a really serious. Like, I remember, I'm always struck. Brian O'Driscoll's book, he has the X-ray of like the piece of metal in his neck, and how serious that conversation was with the doctors. Like, will I be able to play again? Yes, but if I do, am I putting myself at risk? And it's like, no, loads of people have had this done now, and so, but it's not a straightforward, like, it's not like getting your arm bandaged and a bit of plaster cast around it and you go, okay, I can see this, it's going to be fine. It's a really serious thing, right?
Yeah, it is. It's very very serious. So what they do is they go in through the front of your throat, and they pull your trachea and whatever else is there to the side, and they just take out the vertebrae and just fuse it with a metal cage and 4 screws, and you just turn into a bit of a tin man. But Like anything really. I would have had to get it done eventually, because I had pins and needles going on the outside of my two fingers for the end of since probably the Wales game, and like, you know, as I said, it was just wanted to try and keep playing as much as I could, because I was really enjoying it, and that's the joys of playing, because you're really mad to play, and your vehicle, your body is not letting you do it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just say, look, just suck it up and just get on with it. And
so it's not there's no philosophical decision about the decision to continue. It's like, I'm going to do this because I want to continue, and it's the right thing for me.
Yeah. Well, I know. I'd a really like that. I probably would tag been injury prone, but I've had just two big injuries. Was my
your rubber toe,
my bloody toe, and freaking thing, and my dislocated shoulder for years ago. But other than that, like, I was always available for selection. I was just behind two of the greatest second rows in Irish rugby. It was Paulie and Donnacha for 7 years, and just basically that was it. And it was for me. I think at that stage I knew I was making the move to wrestling, and everyone has probably the stigma of, you always remember when you're going out the door. And I really, really enjoyed my last year playing with Munster and playing with the lads. And I said, look, if I was looking back in 10 years' time, like, you know, if I had to feel, how would I feel looking back on it? And I said, look, it's going to be a bit of short-term uncomfortable, but I don't regret it. I had some great memories towards the end of the year, and it was a pity we didn't come away with something, but we had a great year, and it was
that's the decision to play through the injury as opposed to get the surgery at that point, or was that even an option for you?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't. There was something up, all right, when you when you have the pins and needles. But to be honest, look, I didn't think it was a big deal, because I've played every player plays with pain, like, and it just depends how what's your threshold, really. And look, I think I was doing okay. If I wasn't performing well enough, they would have dropped me, and then you can start looking at it from there. But if it was,
and are you grand now with the?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now. I would like to have been able to. So it was 10 weeks. So the second clocked in 10 weeks, they were like, right, out you go, play. And whereas I would like to have done some weights, because I was just doing my neck rehab stuff predominantly, because you have to let it set for the first 6 weeks. And then you got 4 weeks really just to try and strengthen it up. So that was taking up a lot of the time. But yeah, no, it was great. It's been going good so far anyway. So I haven't had any complaints. But it's been. I would like to have done a bit more upper body weights, because with games, it's very hard to build muscle and get stronger as well, because you're still recovering from the games of the weekend, and we train very hard. We train long and hard, and we probably play a match during the week for about 20-30 minute game. So it's like for instance, my second row partner is 145 kgs, and you kind of generally find yourself paired up with guys in your own position. So whereas I'm only 113, so you're kind of through the short straw here. But no, it's good. I like that. And I love that challenge as well, because I can do things he can't do, and vice versa as well. So and also as well, just tackling him enough times as well, it increases my durability to tackle bigger guys as well. So that's it can only be a good thing.
The second row definitely seems like a position that the experience can't be overvalued. That we kind of like. It's great to have these young explosive players that are certainly, we're seeing some in Ireland, and certainly there's been loads in England in recent years, but that actually, you know, you go back through time and it's at the end of their careers that the second rows earn their legendary status, because they're able to mould the team and actually guide the forward pack the way they need to. You think of Martin Johnson, you think of Paul O'Connell, and you even think of Simon Shaw on that Lions tour. Like, I think he might have been 36 or 38 at that point. So like, your form, it seems to me, in the last Six Nations was the best you've ever played, and the performance against Munster for Racing was as good as anything you've ever done. Do you feel that way, or is there part of your 27-year-old self that you'd love to have back to be able to go with the brain power you have now?
That's a very good question, and I thought about that before, because when I was 26, 27, I had ambitions playing for Ireland, and I was seriously looking at moving, because at the time, like, with Paul and Donnacha there, and they were incredible. so you had to make a conscious decision whether right, okay, am I going to go abroad and I get to play more games and get to see what I'm like at playing, but I really did want to play for Ireland, and I really did want to learn. So I don't know, guys say, I'll go abroad and I'll be able to compete against Paul, or like for me, Paul, the best second rows in the world, or way I looked at it was I can study this guy and see how he operates on a day-to-day basis, how he carries himself when he's up and when he's down, and you get to see every part of how a player operates on a weekly basis, and basically how Paulie has a process of how he approaches a game, and is just trying to learn his process, see what works for you. And then, because I did spend those 7 years behind the two lads trying to either copy them, because that's what the coach wanted, and then I realised at the end of it wasn't that anything got to do with me or the players. It was just that's what the coach said. It was just his opinion. It was one person's opinion. So it's like a boss when he promotes one particular person. It's just his opinion. It's not that you're a bad player or you're a bad employee or whatever. It's just that you've got to be. They said, right, okay, so I'm in the business of trying to change opinions, so I just got to focus more on myself and be better. So playing, as I said, just copying Paulie studying Paulie for that particular time and the nuances he did. And then when he got injured and I did get my opportunity, I felt I was an awful lot. I was ready, then a lot more ready than I was before.
Yeah,
that has helped me now.
Okay, so you wouldn't tap yourself on the shoulder at 27 and say go off to England for a couple of years?
No. I love playing for Munster. I absolutely love playing for Munster. It was great, and not having moved to Racing, it even just highlights the fact even more. I love playing for Ireland as well, and I support the guys. Munster, as I watch all their games, you love to see how they're getting on. Even the academy guys getting their run, and it's great to see so and so playing. And as I said, look, I had heroes growing up. I said this before, I had heroes growing up into Munster that I looked up to, and I was get to play with them. And you do get younger heroes as well as you get older as well. And it's great. Well, it was weird playing against the lads the last day and seeing, but it was great at the same time getting to see, who hits actually hard in the game and how they actually carry themselves as well. And from my point of view, I wanted to show, I was like, I can still play as well. I'm still competitive, and even though they would have been played alongside me, but it's nice to, I suppose, kind of sharing the other side of things.
Like, obviously everybody watching is going, then what the hell happened? Like, why aren't you still playing for Munster?
Yeah, look, the reality is I was there for 13 years, and there's no easy way of saying it really, but everything comes to an end. Everybody has to retire, even if you don't want to retire, but you've invested so much in a club over the years, and I suppose that's a very hard decision to take, especially when it's not your decision as well at the same time. And that does happen to players, and they probably would think there's another year or two maybe left in them.
Well, clearly there was.
Well, no, but eventually that comes.
Yeah.
But you'd rather take the decision, I suppose, really it's like, okay, right, I don't know how long more I'm going to be able to play for. So I said, right, okay. I said, I've been here 13 years. I've had an amazing time. And I said, look, I need to go for trying to get out of my comfort zone, try a new challenge, and obviously prepare for the next chapter of your life, really, because at the end of the day, I'm not in a position where I'm going to retire from rugby and I'll be able to sit back and relax. I have to get a job afterwards and get work experience, and I'm always trying to keep as active as possible outside of rugby to try and prepare for that. And it's my biggest fear is what am I going to do next, because you were having a career where you moderately successful, that you're playing at a good level, that you look to your next career and everyone says, well, what's he doing now? Or that's generally the question when the guy retires. Well, what are you doing next? And that's probably why it's probably good to kind of get out of the comfort zone and not be as dormant when you're thinking about maybe staying in. There's nothing wrong with staying in Munster forever, but it'll always be there as well. So
what we'd heard, and we may as well talk about this so that we can clear it up. What we'd heard was that Munster were annoyed that the IRFU didn't offer you a central contract, and that they cited your age as the reason for not offering you a central contract. Is that the process? Is that what happened? Did you go and say, okay, I want to stay, or did you think actually it's time for me to leave like where's the push-pull in all this?
I suppose if in the end there was like, from a contract point of view, there was in the end there was no difference at all. There's no difference between staying or going. There's no difference. The thing was, I probably just going through that journey as well, that period of time, I realised, okay, it's going to come down to a stage where, you know, you are going to have to leave. You are going to finish. You're going to leave. And then, whereas, how hard would I find that leaving as well, if it was out of my hands? And I suppose the same thing is that, right, I need to prepare for that as well. And then that's probably the reason why is, like, look, it does get difficult for players when they do get older.
Yeah,
there's supporters up in the stands still think they should be still playing.
Yeah.
My dad still hasn't retired from county hurling and he's 70. I probably shouldn't say that, but you never feel that you have retired or you're finished. And as I said, it's just having gone is probably just highlights the fact even more that how much I love my experience there. I loved it, and as I said, I'm probably glad I did.
So ultimately, it was your choice in a way. Like, is that?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, exactly. You just gotta, like, make your own decisions as well. We're all big boys as well. At the same time, you know, it's. It's an ideal world. You'd love to keep playing forever, but you just got.
So the Munster fans definitely felt that there was like an unfairness in the situation where they wanted you to stay, but the part of you wanted to go anyway. Is that like? Am I reading that right?
I obviously love to stay. I'd obviously would love to stay in Munster. Like, geez, and you love to stay forever, keep playing forever. But it'll be quite difficult to broach that when it comes to the stage where that decision is not there for you, or when you're kind of see yourself being kind of pushed to the side, because it is important for Munster to bring on the younger generation and the Irish guys, because another player is going to come on, like for instance James Ryan at the weekend, to just roll on, and that's the way it goes, and it's great because that's the evolution of what happens. Someone else has got to come in there and pick up the mantle. And
was Ireland, like, in playing for Ireland, how much of your decision was like, there's a World Cup coming and I just did really well in the Six Nations, so, you know, how much of that was part of thinking, or can you just?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd play that well in the Six Nations. I don't know. You don't know. There's so many variables into that future question as well.
There's no conversation with Joe Schmidt saying, "Here, listen, I'm Rassinger in for me. I'm interested in going. What's the story?" You don't do that. Do you have one of those conversations?
Yeah, well, they're kind of more grey enough, but. Look, to be honest, I kind of more looked at, like, my own situation currently, and then I said, look, I had to look what's best for myself, I suppose. That's in a nutshell. I'd love to keep going as well, playing for Ireland, but at the end of the day, they've got to keep building for the World Cup as well. They're doing the maths, like, will he make it or won't he? I'm sure, and that's fair enough, like, you know, and it's hard to take as well as a player, because you're all competitive animals, really.
Yeah.
Like, and when you're talking about age, I think age is a completely irrelevant thing. If you were to put two GPS scores in front of you without the age there, you'd pick the guy who's doing the most mileage or has got the highest speed, whereas when you put the age in as a factor, it's a lot different. Whereas nowadays we have that technology as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, as you said, second ones, they do get a bit more when they have more miles in the clock. The durability is a bit there, I think.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I brought that up. It does feel like you're reaching, injury notwithstanding, but you're reaching a point now where your cruising level, your basic performance will never dip below the way, but it's supposed to, right?
I don't know. Well, I wish that was written stone. Yeah, well, that's what's out there, and the experience for me definitely helps. The knowledge from line-out stuff, it's it does come in handy, especially when, like, you know, the Munster game was great, like, but at the same time, you know, it's like, you don't know what an injury is going to happen on the line. So, and to be honest, it's just as I said, it's just trying to prepare for the next chapter as well, because I wouldn't encourage, like, players to leave Ireland at a young age. Playing for Ireland is the greatest honour you're going to get.
Yeah.
That's where you want to play it, but at the same time, there is other options in life as well, and it's the same thing. It's at the end it's sport. You're enjoying it, and you may as well enjoy other aspects of the game as well, and you appreciate those opportunities playing for Ireland and Munster. As I said, when you do go away.
Well, because like the Tadhg-Byrne route is obviously something that we're seeing a bit more of, where a glut of players come out at the same time. Not everybody's going to get the full proper opportunities from the academy through the pathway to at the moment predominantly Leinster, and actually that's not a bad career path for players to take either.
No, absolutely, I totally agree, because there's only a certain amount of quota of players in a position that the provinces can play. And then you start dipping into the subs, and then there's question marks then, or if you're dipping into subs in a certain province, why aren't you just picking the starters and the other ones? So there's a variety of questions, but the best thing of the Irish and what the route Tadhg-Byrne has done, it's great. I think he's an amazing player. He's great, he's unbelievably fit, his breakdown work is incredible, and he's a great ball carrier, and the versatility factor, I think anyways, going to the World Cup is a huge strength to the Irish pack, because I know he wouldn't consider himself as a versatility one, but I went to a World Cup as a versatility second row, back row, and it's you need those players, especially going to Japan because of the distance and whatnot. But I think him going away and then coming back, then gave him a platform to the Irish coaches and obviously coaches in Ireland that I can still do the business. Yeah. And then obviously he's come back into the Irish setup, because the Irish setup, you are in a really controlled environment. Like, everything is really laid on for you, from a strength and conditioning point of view to your dietitian, your DEXA scans, all these kind of things. And it does, when you're in the system, it allows players to and they rotate a lot, because I know. Like that, you guys would be the biggest fan of the Pro 14 as well, but Pro 14 is a brilliant league. It's a very, very good league, and the ball's in play an awful lot. You're seeing a lot of guys, a lot of ball in play a lot more often, and it gives the exposure for younger guys to be able to.
I think it's vastly improved in recent years. Like, there was definitely a period of time when the provinces were like, "Oh, this is just a league. I can't believe we have to do this. When can we get back to the glory days of the European Cup?" And then there was a couple of seasons where the European Cup didn't go very well, and they were like, "Maybe we actually need to take the league a bit more seriously here, folks, and remind everybody that we need bums on seats, and we need to play our best players, and we need to." And so I think everybody, the league has matured a bit. That would be my take on it.
Yeah, look, the reality is. What we're in is kind of an entertainment kind of game, so people, when they're watching the game, want to see the ball in play, and like the ball in play in a Pro 14 game is on average is 43-44 minutes, and you look at the Munster-Leinster game in Thomond Park, the ball is in play 51 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's great. And then but like the same time, people then, when they're having a go at maybe players for being injury prone, the probability of a player getting injured is significantly increased, because you're under fatigue and the ball isn't played an awful lot more. Yeah. So your guys are going to get injured, and there's going to be breakdown, and that's what happens as well. So whereas you look at the top 14, the ball is in play for an average about 34 minutes, and it's like you have these power instant moments like that are incredible, but then it's kind of a bit of a slog from here.
A bit more like American football, really.
Yeah, and whereas I've just in the last, I suppose, month or two that I've probably changed a bit is we've in Racing we have in the new stadium, the arena, we've so we played against Claremont, and even the Munster game the ball was in play a lot, but in the Claremont game I was chatting to Ron Poit after the game, and he said it was the fastest game and the longest time the ball was in play he's ever been involved in.
Right.
So the ball was in play about 43 minutes in that game.
Okay.
But the reality is, so you take the Munster-Leinster game at Thomond, and let's say if you're a 100-metre sprinter, and if I give you two tracks, I said, listen, there's a dirt track here for you to run your 100-metre sprint, or an Olympic track here, which you want to run fast. Yeah. You're going to pick the Olympic track. And you look at, so in the arena, sterile conditions, people want to go and see people running. Like if you're going to watch a 100-metre sprint in Olympic final, you want to see who's running the fastest, not who's coming eighth. Yeah. So, as I said, the lads can reach top speed way quicker in the arena, and I know the Munster guys, the backs anyway, they definitely enjoy playing that. and I think that's going to be kind of the future.
I was going to say, but how knackered are you after it?
Yeah, you're sucking diesel as well. Because after 20 minutes, I looked at the clock and I can't believe we're going to play 61 minutes of this. This is insane. And I even looked at Roman, but he was resetting a few scrums that there was nothing wrong with it. He was carving. And even afterwards, he said he was giving me a rundown on his abductors and his lower back and everything. But
in French?
I know he speaks English now. He's a good guy.
Well, the rest of the season's looking pretty sweet for you guys.
So we just came back from we played Cast away last week, and we had a good win, and we went to Hong Kong after that. We played the Sharks, so it was very interesting playing a Southern Hemisphere side. There's a player playing for them at the time, Tomas Dutoit. I found it interesting playing against the Southern Hemisphere team. Now our lads, we kind of enjoyed ourselves all week, and we had a game of soccer as a captain's run. So I don't know if our hearts were in it, but it was very interesting to see. Like, the Sharks are playing Super Rugby in 2 weeks, and we probably didn't have our first or second string probably out a bit, and it was interesting to see that. There wasn't much of a difference, and maybe it's just South African rugby, and they were missing 4 players, I think, international. So it's it's early days for them as well. But I'd always be interested to see how the Pro 14 teams would put up.
Fair, yeah,
because I think we kind of undersell ourselves a lot, and I think the systems that are in place now at the moment in the league as well, and in Ireland, they're very, very good, very, very good, and up there with the best in the world. So it's,
you look at Scarlets basically being the Welsh team, and all of a sudden the league looks amazing.
It's great, and like Scarlets were struggling there a couple of years ago. So, but yeah, we had a great time, and what's interesting in Hong Kong is like pro rugby is turning into the most important, it's number one sport there as well, and they have an outside chance of making the World Cup as well. So you kind of think, God, is that a good thing or a bad thing? But I was doing a bit of a Q&A thing, and I was asked, there was a lot of South African guys were there, and they were saying, should Hong Kong be in the World Cup, and I was like, well, Japan played New Zealand about a couple of the World Cups ago, and they got beaten by 100 points, but they didn't do too bad in the last World Cup, as well. So they kind of went down and let the balloon for half the crowd anyway, but anyway, so I think it's fantastic to see, because the likes of Sri Lanka has they have 120,000 registered rugby players.
Right.
You've got kids and stuff, so it's grown in Asia as well. But so that was, as I said, we were Racing are trying to promote their brand down there as well, which is kind of something I'd never really think, why would rugby do that, because it's more of a soccer thing to do. But
I guess that's the model, right?
That's exactly. And your man Lawrence Eddy's the owner. He's got a wine business as well, so I'm sure he's dropping off a few bottles of wine in Hong Kong at the same time, trying to sell a few there. But so anyway, so we're back on Sunday, and we're playing La Rochelle in the U Arena next week. So
that should be handy.
They're top of the table, but they're all, the top 14 is just such a everyone says, it can be hard going there, but any team can win on a day, which is like a Gen can win or INX can win. It's because the threat of relegation, and that's what can kind of drag down a team. And so it's very, very tense, the games are, and it's great going to those games with the lower teams, because there are small towns like INX has got 25,000.
Right, I didn't realise that.
It's tiny, and Agen is pretty small as well. So you go to these, and the whole town is in behind the team.
Yeah, that's special.
It is. It's great. And afterwards, then they're the locals are delighted to have photos or whatever and whatnot. But it's really good to experience that, because it is that tension of a Champions Cup game on a weekly basis as well. Although when you look at, as you said, it's kind of the arena is kind of turned into more of a theatrical type of an event.
That's where you're definitely in the entertainment business. Yeah,
you're kind of like, Jesus, this is it's a bit much. There's a lot of when you're kind of getting worried when you're getting rid of the
giant screen.
Oh man, I'll tell you a story about that actually. So we had to do a photo shoot for that, and So they had 5. You said 5 photos. You have to do 5 different photos for
Halloween, Christmas. And
well, no, it was just for the big screen.
Okay, right.
So this is going to be on the big screen. So we're going to have 5 different photos. So we want you happy and whatever and
broody.
All this,
French.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like. So anyway, so they had to do all these photos, and they were like, you need to look straight down the camera. And they said, yeah, I am looking in the camera. I said, no, straight down the camera. He said, if you don't look down the camera, your eyes will look strange because your head will be 4 meters wide on the screen. I said, 4 meters wide? I said, so my broken nose is going to look 2 meters crooked. So I was like, mass exodus out the door, and you see this thing coming up on the screen. But but it's an interesting sports model what they've done, because they've modelled it on the 1980s in the NFL, that people were not going to attending games as much as they were, so they were finding that people were staying at home, they were able to get the replays,
watch on TV,
watching TV comfort, and what your man Lorenzetti's done, and they should be applauded really. Like,
ref links for everybody who goes to a match is like, you have to have the ref link, otherwise you haven't a clue what's going on.
Exactly, yeah. And as people get more and go now, what I find in Paris, they're more spectators than supporters. Where down south they're different. But your man Lorenzetti's persistent with it, and he's like, I have to hand it to him. Like, I don't know if people mention about because the big money it's in France, but they really are trying to drive the game. Like, it's their own money, and they're pumping it into the game that they love. And I'm looking at this guy, and the amount of time he's investing in a rugby team, which he could be going off doing anything else, is great. Is great, and he's just really trying to drive the game forward, and it's good for the Champions Cup as well, because it adds
totally
it's a build up for you guys for the Irish teams as well, so it's brilliant. But
But look, you've been brilliant with your time. But last question, the Italy game, we need a bonus point, because that's kind of what the table gets set by England's bonus point win, and that's how this whole thing is going to play out.
It's no brainer, right?
You can't chase a bonus point in this game. Like, we've got to just crush them for 60 minutes, like drag them into the deep water. All those cliches, which are
oh no, absolutely. And I think Italy are getting better. You look at Treviso, how good they've gotten as well. And I think I don't know how sure this is, but Treviso and Zebra are training together a lot more.
Okay.
So that can only help as well. And they're very motivated, the players as well, because they have a weird kind of, as players, they don't sometimes they wouldn't get paid for 2 or 3 months on end, and then they get paid alphabetically on their name and stuff. So
even now, Jesus, I thought that they got rid of all that, but
I don't know, maybe it's changed maybe since Connor's gone in, but it's tough for them, and these guys are motivated. And I think with Connor going in there with O'Shea and the other coaches putting systems in place, it's not going to be perfect all right now, but they're getting, you can see that they are putting the structures in place. You want to have the same cohesion with new guys coming in, which Joe has really down patent. The guys who come in, they know exactly what they're doing. They've no need to be nervous, because all they have to do is a job and just be as aggressive. And you're dead right. You just got to, like, the fitness levels of the Argentinian team, the Italian team are an awful lot better. But I think Ireland, just with that back line, I think they need to win more games together. Like, everyone's crying out for like chopping and changing, but you need to have consistency as well, and guys to get that under pressure in Test rugby. And I think they'll unless they get like a really good break at the start, or break the mentality of the Italians, we'll have to grind it out for first 30 and the second half, the next 15-20 minutes, and then I think they'll definitely get the bonus point, especially at home with the supporters, because the Vivas turned into a great fortress there as well, which is great. Well,
listen, it sounds like you're having the crack.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's the thing. Why not? It's, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, we're playing Claremont in the quarterfinal, and sure could be playing Munster again. I think they will beat Toulon. I think they're looking so good, and very, very well organised. So I think we're playing in France, so it should be a bit of crack if we beat Claremont. But I think they've had a lot of injuries, so I think it'll be very tough for us going on there. But as I said, I'm really enjoying it down there. It's a different experience, and it's great when you get to come home and catch up as well. So it's good.
Good stuff, Donnacha. Thanks a million.
Yeah, great. Cheers. Thanks.
Hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.